Reading from Srimad Bhagavad.Gita, 16th chapter, first 1 to 3rd verse. Sri Bhagavan Uvacha Abhayam Sattva Samshuddhir Jnana Yoga Vyavasthitihi Dhanam Damascha Yagnascha Swadhyayastapa Arjavam Ahimsa Satyam Akrodas Tyagaha Shantirapaishunam Daya Bhuteshu Aloluptvam Mardavam Hrir Achapalam Tejah Kshama Dhritihi Saucham Adroho Natimanita Bhavanti Sampadam Dhaivim Abhijatasya Bharata. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Translation. The Blessed Lord said, fearlessness, purification of one's existence, cultivation of spiritual knowledge, charity, self-control, performance of sacrifice, study of the Vedas, austerity and simplicity, non-violence, truthfulness, freedom from anger, renunciation, tranquility, aversion to fault-finding, compassion and freedom from covetousness, gentleness, modesty and steady determination, vigor, forgiveness, fortitude, cleanliness, freedom from envy and the passion for honor. These transcendental qualities, O son of Bharata, belong to godly men endowed with the divine nature. Purport. In the beginning of the 15th chapter, the banyan tree of this material world was explained. The extra roots coming out of it were compared to the activities of the living entities, some auspicious, some inauspicious. In the 9th chapter also, the Devas are godly and the Asuras, the ungodly, or demons, were explained. Now, according to Vedic rites, activities in the mode of goodness are considered auspicious for progress on the path of liberation, and such activities are known as Deva Prakriti, transcendental by nature. Those who are situated in the transcendental nature make progress on the path of liberation. For those who are acting in the mode of passion and ignorance, on the other hand, there is no possibility of liberation. Either they will have to remain in this material world as human beings, or they will descend among these species of animals or even lower life forms. In this 16th chapter, the Lord explains both the transcendental nature and its attendant qualities, as well as the demoniac nature and its qualities. He also explains the advantages and disadvantages of these qualities. The word abhijatasya, in reference to one born of transcendental qualities or godly tendencies, is very significant. To beget a child in a godly atmosphere is known in the Vedic scriptures as Garbhadhana Samskara. If the parents want a child in the godly qualities, they should follow the 10 principles of the human being. In Bhagavad Gita, we have studied also before that sex life for begetting a good child is Krishna himself. Sex life is not condemned provided the process is used in Krishna consciousness. Those who are in Krishna consciousness at least should not beget children like cats and dogs, but should beget them so they may become Krishna conscious after birth. That should be the advantage of children born of father or mother absorbed in Krishna consciousness. The social institution known as Varnashrama Dharma, the institution dividing society into 4 divisions or castes, is not meant to divide human society according to birth. Such divisions are in terms of educational qualifications. They are to keep the society in a state of peace and prosperity. The qualities mentioned herein are explained as transcendental qualities meant for making a person progress in spiritual understanding so he can get liberated from the material world. The Varnashrama institution, the sannyasi or the person in the renounced order of life, is considered to be the head or the spiritual master of all the social statuses and orders. A Brahmana is considered to be the spiritual master of the 3 other sections of a society, namely the Kshatriyas, the Vaishyas, and the Shudras. But a sannyasi who is on the top of the institution is considered to be the spiritual master of the Brahmanas also. For a sannyasi, the first qualification should be fearlessness. because a sannyasi has to be alone without any support or guarantee of support. He has simply to depend on the mercy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. If he thinks, after leaving my connections, who will protect me, he should not accept the renounced order of life. One must be fully convinced that Krishna or the Supreme Personality of Godhead, in his localized aspect as Paramatma, is always within, that he is seeing everything and he always knows what one intends to do. One must thus have firm conviction that Krishna, as Paramatma, will take care of his soul surrendered to him. I shall never be alone, one should think. Even if I live in the darkest regions of a forest, I shall be accompanied by Krishna, and he will give me all protection. That conviction is called Havayam, without fear. This state of mind is necessary for a person in the renounced order of life. Then he has to purify his existence. There are so many rules and regulations to be followed in the renounced order of life. Most important of all, a sannyasi is strictly forbidden to have any intimate relationship with a woman. He is even forbidden to talk with a woman in a secluded place. Lord Chaitanya was an ideal sannyasi, and when he was at Puri, his feminine devotees could not even come near to offer their respects. They were advised to bow down from a distant place. This is not a sign of hatred for women as a class, but it is a stricture imposed on the sannyasi not to have close connections with women. One has to follow the rules and regulations of a particular status of life in order to purify his existence. For a sannyasi, intimate relationship with women and possessions of wealth for sense gratification are strictly forbidden. The ideal sannyasi was Lord Chaitanya himself, and we can learn from his life that he was very strict in regards to women. Although he is considered to be the most liberal incarnation of Godhead, accepting the most fallen conditioned souls, he strictly followed the rules and regulations of the sannyasa order of the life in connection with association with the women. One of his personal associates, namely Chota Haridasa, was personally associated with Lord Chaitanya, along with his other confidential personal associates. But somehow or other, this Chota Haridasa looked lustily on a young woman, and Lord Chaitanya was so strict that he at once rejected him from the society of his personal associates. Lord Chaitanya said, for a sannyasi or anyone who is aspiring to get out of the clutches of material nature and trying to elevate himself to the spiritual nature and go back to home, back to Godhead, for him looking toward material possessions and women for sense gratification, not even enjoying them, but just looking toward them with such a propensity, is so condemned that he had better commit suicide before experiencing such illicit desires. So these are the processes for purification. The next item is Jnana Yoga Vyavastitihi. Being engaged in the cultivation of knowledge, sannyasi life is meant for distributing knowledge to the householders and others who have forgotten their real life of spiritual advancement. A sannyasi is supposed to beg from door to door for his livelihood, but this does not mean that he is a beggar. Humility is also one of the qualifications of a transcendentally situated person, and out of sheer humility, the sannyasi goes from door to door, not exactly for the purpose of begging, but to see the householders and awaken them to Krishna consciousness. This is the duty of a sannyasi. If he is actually advanced and so ordered by his spiritual master, he should preach Krishna with logic and understanding, and if he is not so advanced, he should not accept the renounced order of life. But even if he has accepted the renounced order of life without sufficient knowledge, he should engage himself fully in hearing from a bona fide spiritual master to cultivate knowledge. A sannyasi or one in the renounced order of life must be situated in fearlessness, sattva samshuddhi, purity, and jnana yoga, knowledge. The next item is charity. Charity is meant for the householders. The householders should earn a livelihood by an honorable means and spend 50% of their income to propagate Krishna consciousness all over the world. Thus, a householder should give in charity to such institutional societies that are engaged in that way. Charity should be given to the right receiver. There are different kinds of charities, as will be explained later on. Charity in the modes of goodness, passion, and ignorance. Charity in the mode of goodness is recommended by the scriptures, but charity in the modes of passion and ignorance is not recommended because it is simply a waste of money. Charity should be given only to propagate Krishna consciousness all over the world. That is charity in the mode of goodness. Then, as far as Dhammaha, self control, is concerned, it is not only meant for other orders of religious society, but it is especially meant for the householder. Although he has a wife, the householder should not use his senses for sex life unnecessarily. There are restrictions for the householders even in sex life, which should only be engaged in for the propagation of children. If he does not require children, he should not enjoy sex life with his wife. Modern society enjoys sex life with contraceptive methods or more abominable methods to avoid the responsibility of children. This is not in the transcendental quality but is demoniac. If anyone, even if he is a householder, wants to make progress in spiritual life, he must control his sex life and should not beget a child without the purpose of serving Krishna. If he is able to beget children who will be in Krishna consciousness, one can produce hundreds of children, but without this capacity, one should not indulge only for sense pleasure. Sacrifice is another item to be performed by the householders because sacrifices require a large amount of money. Other orders of life, named the Brahmacharya, the Vanaprastha, and Sannyasa, have no money. They live by begging. So, performance of different types of sacrifice is meant for the householder. They should perform Agnihotra sacrifices as enjoined in the Vedic literature, but such sacrifices at the present moment are very expensive and it is not possible for any householder to perform them. The best sacrifice recommended in this age is called Sankirtana Yagna, the chanting of Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. This is the best and most inexpensive sacrifice. Everyone can adopt it and derive benefit. So these three items, namely charity, sense control, and performance of sacrifice, are meant for the householder. Then Swadhyaya, Vedic study, and tapas, austerity, and arjavam, gentleness or simplicity, are meant for the brahmacharya or student life. Brahmachari should have no connection with women. They should live a life of celibacy and engage the mind in the study of Vedic literature for cultivation of spiritual knowledge. This is called Swadhyaya. Tapas or austerity is especially meant for the retired life. One should not remain a householder throughout his whole life. He must always remember that there are four divisions of life: Brahmacharya, Grahastha, Vanaprastha, and Sannyasa. So, after Grahastha householder life, one should retire. If one lives for 100 years, he should spend 25 years in student life, 25 in householder life, 25 in retired life, and 25 in the renounced order of life. These are the regulations of the Vedic religious discipline. A man retired from householder life must practice austerities of the body, mind, and tongue. That is tapasya. The entire Varnashrama Dharma society is meant for tapasya. Without tapasya or austerity, no human being can get liberation. The theory that there is no need of austerity in life, that one can go on speculating and everything will be nice, is neither recommended in the Vedic literature nor in Bhagavad-Gita. Such theories are manufactured by show bottle spiritualists who are trying to gather more followers. If there are restrictions, rules, and regulations, people will not become attracted. Therefore, those who want followers in the name of religion just to have a show only don't restrict the lives of their students nor their own lives. but that method is not approved by the Vedas. As far as simplicity is concerned, not only should a particular order of life follow this principle, but every member, be he in the Brahmacharya ashrama or Grahastha ashrama or Vanaprastha ashrama, one must live very simply. Ahimsa means not arresting the progressive life of any living entity. One should not think that since the spirit spark is never killed, even after the killing of the body, there is no harm in killing animals for sense gratification. People are now addicted to eating animals in spite of having an ample grain supply of grains, fruits and milk. There is no necessity for animal killing. This injunction is for everyone. When there is no other alternative, one may kill an animal, but it should be offered in sacrifice. At any rate, when there is an ample food supply for humanity, persons who are desiring to make advancement in spiritual realization should not commit violence to animals. Real ahimsa meant not checking anyone's progressive life. The animals are also making progress in their evolutionary life by transmigrating from one category of animal life to another. If a particular animal is killed, then his progress is checked. If an animal is staying in a particular body for so many days or so many years and is untimely killed, then he has to come back again in that form of life to complete the remaining days in order to be promoted to another species of life. So their progress should not be checked simply to satisfy one's palate. This is called ahimsa. Satyam, this word means that one should not distort the truth for some personal interest. In Vedic literature, there are some difficult passages, but the meaning or the purpose should be learned from a bona fide spiritual master. That is the process for understanding Vedas. Shruti means that one should hear from the authority. One should not construe miss some interpretation for his personal interest. There are so many commentaries on Bhagavad Gita that misinterpret the original text. The real import of the word should be presented, and that should be learned from a bona fide spiritual master. Akrodaha means to check anger. Even if there is provocation, one should be tolerant, for once one becomes angry, his whole body becomes polluted. Anger is the product of the modes of passion and lust. So one who is transcendently situated should check himself from anger. Apaishuna means that one should not find fault with others or correct them unnecessarily. Of course, to call a thief is not fault finding, but to call an honest person a thief is very much offensive for one who is making advancement in spiritual life. Hrihi means that one should be very modest and must not perform some act which is abominable. Achapalam determination means that one should not be agitated or frustrated in some attempt. There may be failure in some attempt, but one should not be sorry for that. He should make progress with patience and determination. The word tejaha used here is meant for the kshatriyas. The kshatriyas should always be very strong to be able to give protection to the weak. They should not pose themselves as non-violent. If violence is required, they must exhibit it. Saucha means cleanliness, not only in mind and body, but in one's dealings also. It is especially meant for the mercantile people who should not deal in the black market. Nati manita, not expecting honor, applies to the Shudras, the worker class, which are considered according to Vedic injunction to be the lowest of the four classes. They should not be puffed up with unnecessary prestige or honor and should remain in their own status. It is a duty of the Shudras to offer respect to the higher class for the upkeep of the social order. All these 16 qualifications mentioned are transcendental qualities. They should be cultivated according to the different statuses of the social order. The purport is that even Though material conditions are miserable, if these qualities are developed by practice by all classes of men, then gradually it is possible to rise to the highest platform of transcendental realization. ओम ज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। नमः ओं विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते जयपताका स्वामी इति नामिने नामाचार्यपादाय निताय कृपाप्रदायिने गौरकथाधामधाय नगरग्रामतारिणे नमः ओं विष्णुपदाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामी इति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषा शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंदा श्री अद्वैता गदाधरा श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंदा। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्णा हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। This chapter is name is the divine and demoniac natures. So Lord Krishna is giving a big list of divine qualities. What are those? Fearlessness, purification of one's existence, cultivation of spiritual knowledge, charity, self-control, performance of sacrifice, study of the Vedas, austerity and simplicity, non-violence, truthfulness, freedom from anger, renunciation, tranquility, aversion to fault-finding, compassion and freedom from covetousness, gentleness, modesty and steady determination, vigor, forgiveness, fortitude, cleanliness, freedom from envy and the passion for honor. So these are transcendental qualities. So anything against this or demonic qualities, that will come in the next slokas. So variety is the mother of enjoyment. So God created varieties of living entities. So some are devas, some are asuras, some are rakshasas, some are ghosts, pishachas, some are human beings, some are animals, birds, beasts, aquatics, trees, plants, so many varieties, insects, birds. So varieties of living entities God created. So God also created three modes of material nature: sattva guna, rajoguna, tamoguna. So based on our association with these three gunas, we get our suitable life, maybe demigod life or asura life or demon life or animal life, human life, any life, whatever life we get because of our association with these three modes of material nature: sattva guna, rajoguna, tamoguna. So if we associate with sattva guna predominantly, we rise to the platform of brahmanical platform, we rise and then slowly we go to heaven, higher planets. If we develop rajoguna, we may become a businessman or a kshatriya, or we may become a king. We may remain in this big king in this earth planet. If we develop tamoguna, we may degrade to lower species like animals, or we may degrade to yaksha, rakshasa, ghost. Yaksha, rakshasas actually they are actually in rajoguna, predominantly rajoguna, tamoguna mixed. So based on our association, we get different kinds of bodies. There are so many planets in the below the earth, there are planets above the earth. So in this earth planet is predominantly rajoguna, and higher planets are sattoguna. The more the lower planets are predominantly tamoguna. Predominantly we have to see these three modes of material nature is everywhere, it is pervading. From Brahmaloka to Patala, the three modes of material nature is there, but in predominantly the qualities are mixed. Somewhere predominantly tamoguna is there, somewhere predominantly rajoguna is there, somewhere predominantly sattoguna is there. So heavenly planets predominantly sattoguna is there. Heavenly this earth planet predominantly rajoguna is there. In lower planets predominantly tamoguna is there. So there are different kinds of living entities. Based on their association with these three modes of material nature, they get the life, different species of life. Now, according to Vedic rites, the activities in the mode of goodness are considered auspicious for progress in the path of liberation. So, if we want to get out of this repeated cycle of birth and death in this 84 lakh varieties of species, so we have to develop the modes of goodness. By practicing modes of goodness, we develop the auspicious qualities and we get liberation. Now, we are progressing the path of liberation. And such activities are known as Deva Prakriti, transcendental by nature. So if we have this nature, Deva, transcendental nature, Deva Prakriti, we can progress in this liberation. So if we are acting in the mode of passion and ignorance, there is no possibility of liberation. So which means we will be repeatedly taking birth in this planet and dying. If we have only passionate qualities, we may become big king, or maybe big businessman or big king. If you have these passionate qualities, and if you have tamaguna, we may become a ghost or some rakshasas, or so the push up beta, some bhuta ganas are there, bhuta pesha pichachi, bhuta preta pishach, so many ghostly living entities are there, satan, jinn. So if we have these tamaguna qualities, we may become that. So either they will have to remain in this material world as human beings, or they will descend among the species of animals or even lower life forms. So based on our association, again, we can remain as human beings, or we may elevate ourselves to heavenly planets, or we may elevate ourselves to spiritual planets, or we may degrade ourselves to lower planets. It's there, it is within us. If we decide, we can elevate ourselves by associating with particular modes of nature. We can elevate ourselves, and by associating particular modes of nature, we can degrade ourselves. So it's there in our hand. God has given us some freedom. So next is, we have to beget children as per Vedic scriptures. That is called Garbhadhana Samskara. So the word Abhijatyasya is reference to one born of transcendental qualities or godly tendencies is very significant. To beget a child in a godly atmosphere is known in the Vedic scriptures as Garbhadhana Samskara. We have to beget children by following some samskara. That samskara is called Garbhadhana Samskara. So this is a purificatory ritual we have to practice before begetting, before this union, before the union of father, male female. So they have to follow certain purificatory rituals, that is called Garbhadhana Samskara. So by practicing these rituals, both the male and female, they get purified, and the consciousness is get purified, and the child who is going to come out will be having lot of transcendental qualities, both having divine qualities. The child which comes out will also have divine qualities. So that is why this purificated ritual is very much essential, for begetting a child. If the parents want a child with the godly qualities, they should follow the 10 principles of the human being. So there is a time, place, and circumstances we have to see, for this Garbhadhana Samskara. Astrologically, we have to see and about the physical, menstrual cycle of a man, women. And we also see so many factors we have to consider for this Garbhadhana Samskara. We have to see as per the astrological, muhurta. You have to select a proper muhurta, and based on the menstrual cycle of women, also we have to consider, and so many factors we have to consider. Then this Garbhadhana Samskara can be done. So if we follow this principle, this is actually a religious principle. This Garbhadhana Samskara is a religious principle. So nowadays this this religion is no, only one-fourth religion is there now in our planet. In Kali Yuga, only one-fourth religion is only quarter. 75% irreligion, only 25% religion is there. So because people are not following all these garbhadana samskara, these purificated rituals, they are getting all kinds of demoniac childrens. And first of all, they themselves are having lot of demonic qualities. So because they do not follow this garbhadana samskara, and they beget children with demoniac qualities. Now we have the example that Kashyapa Muni and Diti, they had this union during sunset time. The sunset time is not recommended for this union. Now, as already I told you, that muhurta, we have to select a particular muhurta for begetting for this garbhadana samskara. We cannot just have it at any time. There is a, that is called astrology. The astrology is meant for that, to guide human society in proper way. The muhurta is there, what time, everything we have to see a muhurta, especially for garbhadana samskara. So if they want a good children divinely with godly qualities, they should perform this garbhadana samskara. So this is a religious ritual. So if we follow this religious ritual, actually we are following Krishna. We are pleasing Krishna. In Bhagavad-Gita, we have studied also that before that sex life for begetting a good child is Krishna himself. So dharma aviruddha kama. So that any religious activity which is not against dharma, that I am. So even sex life which is not against dharma is Lord Krishna. Sex life is not condemned provided the process is used in Krishna consciousness. So because the living entities have this, they have tendency to enjoy this world. So they have given different kinds of bodies. So it is common that eating, sleeping, mating, defending is common in all species of life. Ahara nidra bhayamaitunam cha samanya etat pashubhir narana. This eating, sleeping, mating, defending is common in animals and human beings also. So we have, but human being has to follow particular rules and regulation in terms of eating, sleeping, mating, defending. Everything he has to follow particular rules and regulation, that is called dharma, religious principle. If he is not following this religious principle, he distance himself to the animal platform. So it is very essential that we have to follow these rules and regulations, samskaras, these religious principles we have to follow. So the social institution known as Varnashrama Dharma, the institution dividing society into 4 divisions of society. Those who are in Krishna consciousness at least should not beget children like cats and dogs, but should beget them so they may become Krishna conscious after birth. So maybe this may not be possible for everybody to follow, but at least Krishna conscious devotees should not beget children by like cats and dogs. This is what Prabhupada has written in the purport. So at least the devotees should practice this samskaras such that they can get a good children. For it's a very, very valuable gift for the society. That will be a great gift for the society, to have this godly qualities, children with godly qualities. The social institution known as Varnashrama Dharma, the institution dividing society into 4 divisions or castes, is not meant to divide human society according to birth.